Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation on the Sermon on the Mount. We're on our 7th week. We're talking about blessed are peacemakers, for I don't remember the rest of it off the top of my head. They will be called children of God.
Cheesemakers.
I prefer cheese over peace.
If Greg was in a beauty pageant today, he would say at the end of his speech, and I want world cheese.
World cheese. I want cheese.
No, just for me.
It is for me. Were we going to talk about cheese? I was just about to say something about cheese, but
Sure.
Redhead Creamery in Broughton is putting a restaurant. I think they opened a restaurant on there.
I don't know any of the words you just said.
Is it Bruton, or where are you going to?
That's the area, but is it Bruton? You grew up there. Is it Bruton?
Don't make me.
Welcome to Minnesota, where nobody knows how to say the names of our cities.
I love, my favorite is...
You're going to go down south to Ferry Vault?
I mean, ask a random person who... Eau Claire is a good one. That's Wisconsin. Eau Claire. Ikli.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the world, it's Monticello. But if you're driving down 94, it's Monticello. That's some guy named Oli said, this is how we pronounce it.
What a start.
Except that it's
Uppsala.
Uppsala.
In Sweden, it has two P's.
That's true. Justified.
Okay, so back to your cheese story about Bruton.
The Redhead Creamery is there, and they're putting a restaurant on their creamery area. I don't like that.
Boy, we miss Rachel today.
Smart point.
We've been going through the Beatitudes.
The name Smash Burger. So I was like, okay. Yeah.
They're open.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Jesus, I think... What? I'm talking about Jesus. Please watch the video. You can see things coming out of Greg's nose.
It's live right now. Are we live on YouTube? Oh, boy.
I think blessed... So, some things that would be blessed is limitless cheese.
Oh, yes.
Limitless smash burgers. Apparently these are all about food. And I think that it must have been... We've talked about over and over again how Jesus gives these upside down blessings. But, all of these people that had gathered, this incredibly diverse group of people that have come to listen to Jesus, that are from those that may be trying to call him out and find his issue, or trying to defame him, to people that are sick and are bringing their loved ones that are sick, that want to be healed, or there's hope for these provisions. And then Jesus starts with these upside down blessed statements, and I don't know if it probably would have grabbed interest. I don't know if it necessarily would have been like, this isn't really what I was expecting. If you are the person who has no power, and he starts off and goes, listen, you're blessed when you have no power, when you truly do need God. You're there, and you're blessed for being there. Blessed when you're next week we're going to be talking about when you're persecuted or belittled, when people hate you, and that can be done in some kind of a weird, bad, manipulative kind of way. Some people are really good at being hated, or persecuted, or like it, maybe. I don't even know what the word is, but Jesus is flipping these things upside down, and today we go to the cheesemakers.
Yeah.
Making peace.
You had said something about people, maybe like how people respond to, like they come into Jesus for a specific reason, and then Jesus kind of flips their perspective upside down. And I feel like that's so Jesus, to be like, and I feel like that's today too. We were talking somewhere in the last week, we were talking about people being maybe overly confident in their faith, and how that can, I don't know, not leaving room for people to explore ideas that might be different than your own. And I feel like the moment you go to Jesus and you're so confident, like, I finally have Jesus figured out, I finally have faith figured out, I finally have church figured out, is when Jesus drops one of those blessed are moments. Maybe it's not about me actually having it all figured out. Maybe it's not about me achieving something or being something.
I think it's so easy to have these Jesus figured out being like, I figured out how to get him to do what I want him to do, which is, if you've ever had somebody do that to you, I figured out how to work the system so I can get you to do what I want you to do. When I become aware of those moments, it's frustrating.
What's the line between manipulating somebody to do what you want them to do and figuring out how to actually work effectively with somebody? Where's that flip switch?
Where are you at? I think it's in relationship. It's in relationship.
Yeah, because I think it's admirable to want to figure out how to work best with the people you work with, or to pray, God, I want to be able to work well with you. Whatever that means. But then I feel like that's just a tick away from being like, I know how to make them do what I want them to do.
Yeah. Yeah, to go, when you find out that in order to get something done, I have to make them cry. So I'm going to make them cry.
Well, we were talking this morning a little bit about, I was talking with my buddy Raj yesterday about working with the city. And I feel like many, like, they're...
Yeah, the city's not a person, though. There's people there.
Well, somebody at the city, you can go, okay, at what point does it not, I don't care about working well with you, I will care about getting you to do what I need you to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
And the call here is for us to make peace. I think it's so fascinating, like, with some things that we're going to do to surface who we all are, just a little bit of our things that make us who we are. And the reason is because who we are impacts not only what, but how we make things. And so from that, when we're called to make peace, I think can be, like you're talking about, it shouldn't be a copy and paste moment. I figured out how to manipulate the world to make peace. Probably not going to work. Who you are, your temperaments, your experiences, how God has made you, how you're in the image of God, all these things are going to impact how you do relationship, how you do family, and not all good, but also it's important to realize that it doesn't have to be the exact same all the time. So to embrace that. But I think it's fascinating if you try to make peace with a manipulative person or somebody who's passive or somebody, if you try to do it all the exact same, and we're all different. It's an infinite equation. We should embrace its complexity.
Do you think that you are a person that peacemaking is high up on your character trait list?
I think he's asking you, Ty.
Because my value of peacemaking has historically been pretty low. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think before I started working at North Central, my value on it was higher. I think the more that I've been at North Central and in leadership, leadership in air quotes, because everyone makes that important. Yeah, I think that my value in peacemaking has gotten lower. That I'm more okay with tension existing. I'm more okay with things not resolving clean.
I think that's actually, that points out such a great point, is that peace and making of peace is not the alleviation of tension or struggle or pain. And that's like Jesus, I think one of the ultimate moment of Jesus being the ultimate peacemaker is when he's arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. And when there's a lot happening. Judas comes, gives a sign by kissing him on the cheek that this is the one to arrest. The disciples pull their swords and go, do we strike them with our swords? Which is a great... Peter doesn't wait for the answer and chops off the high priest's servant's ear. And Jesus, in that moment, he's a person of peace. He calms them down. He heals the guy's ear, and he, without resistance, goes with them. And this is... Peacemaking is not... Like, I think it's so easy. This is a moment where you okay, here's a moment where Jesus was peacemaking, but it's never just a singular moment. It's always zoomed out. The value of a given moment is high, but also the value of trajectory is super, super high. And to navigate that, and it doesn't necessarily lead to, I was a peacemaker, therefore everybody got along, or this is very easy for everybody. Not that.
It makes me think that we talked a little bit about how peacemaking, or this idea of peace in the English language and our understanding, isn't quite one for one always. But it makes me think that being a peacemaker here is, or in that moment of Jesus being a peacemaker, is an invitation to have God's perspective. It's this, like, how do I actually be a peacemaker in our world? Well, step one is try to see people, yourself, and the world around you the way that God does.
Yeah.
That even when there is chaos, you can have peace in the midst of hard things when you have healthy perspective.
Yeah, and that circles back to how important it is to realize that we're all part of the equation. Who you are, and Ty, you saying that your perspective of peace has changed, and Greg saying he never had. But understanding who you are is so important, and then going, all right, from who I am, if I'm going to be a peacemaker, I need to have the perspective of who the heart of God, his desire, his will. The if-then of this is also complex. Beautiful. At one stating of it, you just go, well, that's sweet. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. I think, even in our preparation over the last week and some other conversation with different people, it's even some processing of like, all right, let's spend some time talking about who we are children of. And there was some pushback on that because that's a complex story for a lot of people. And I am very blessed to have. I don't have much daytime TV in my family experience. This was calm and normal and loving and not violent or whatever. And so if people in your world or you personally have moments where you think about, well, who am I a child of? Let's not go there. That's complex.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I was so isolated from that chaos in my life, mostly. Some of it exists in some extended family, but it's my immediate family for sure. It's a gift.
And so to be called children of God, to have a true moment of going, all right, there are things in life that can be really broken and family can be broken. But what is it to have new identity or to be a child of God is, I think hopefully we can walk in this process on Sunday to go from, that's a nice little, it's on a shelf in Target. There's a greeting card that says, you are a child of God. Play the song. I'm a child of God. He calls me friend. Which one am I? Child or friend? And
Do you want me to correct your lyrics?
I'm just glad Scott knew what I was getting at.
Rich, do you want me to correct your lyrics or your theology?
But if God is really God, and what does it really mean? I mean, we're going to ask that question. If God is really God, what is the value or the impact of being a child of God?
What is the implication of who's doing the calling? When you read it or when you're studying it, or maybe it's not clear. Somebody has to do it. Who's calling them children of God?
There's writing on it, and it's actually a bunch of the perspective is that it's multifaceted. That God would call you a child of God, that others would call you a child of God, and that you would think of yourself as being a child of God. Now, because, this is the uncomfortable declaration in it is that if you're a child, but it's a secret, or it's illegitimate, or it's something that your family is complex, and so we don't talk about that. The calling it is actually a big deal. To be the public, known, celebrated family is such a big part of this. And so I think who is doing the calling has implication in this, but the true, the flashing lights in this is that this is not a secret. You are my child, or I am a child, or he or she is a child, that's where the value is at. The easiest way for me to think about it is that if somebody comes from a complicated family background and you say, tell me about your family, they go, no, thanks. Not that it should be dredged out, but there's something very different when you say, so tell me about your family and connection to God, and God goes, let me tell you about, or people say, well, that person definitely is a part of that family. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and there's a sense of belonging that comes with being child. regardless of the calling, belonging to a family, it's not something other you're not part of. Being a peacemaker,
Yep.
being a child of God, having a part of belonging.
Yep. And I think about the repetitive biblical theme of being part of a family or generational connection. There is Jesus's words talking about the prodigal son that's beautiful, but also you go to the beginning of the Gospels and there's the genealogy of Jesus and showing these connections. That's kind of like being called a child of. And it isn't that all the people in the genealogy of Jesus are perfect by any means, but it's important to show that the complex stories and the even failing people are part of that connection to Jesus is incredible. Then you go back to Abraham and the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, going into Joseph and stuff. And I continually just think, boy, these stories are not great. These are some people that did and were kind of rough, not necessarily wasn't cushy. It's not a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie, but still that the power of being God's covenant with Abraham and that connection to them family, and then to be part of that family. Again, quoting from Scripture, it says, "Father Abraham had many sons." Many sons had Father Abraham.
I've heard that. I'm one of them.
So you know what?
Let's just praise the Lord.
There we go.
Right arm.
I don't really get the connection to that, but I get that'll preach. If you're not watching the video, thank you, Rich. That's right. Greg's church was too cool for Father Abraham.
No,
growing up.
Your church had its own Sunday school kids songs.
Yeah. But what that, like, to open your mouth, what is the value and impact of being a child of God? I'm gonna look right at you. So when I think it's so easy to say that, boy, it has so much value and impact to be a child of God, but then again, I tried to do some writing on this week, and I just realized that it's very easy to give some type of platitude. But what is it? What is the real value? What is the impact of being a child of God?
I think it kind of goes back to some things I said last week. So there's a thing I'll harp on all the time. Paul has this, we're the body. Isn't the body so cool? Mm-hmm. That's the thing he always comes back to. I mean, the thing that has really been impactful in my faith, and I come back to is this idea of God's attributes and His call to us to spread those attributes of beauty and abundance and order. And I think being a child, especially in this context where, like, being a child of someone, you are like their representative in that way. And so the impact of being a child of God is like that calling into spreading God's goodness with the world. I think that has definitely has impact. Healing in the sense that having a new identity, like your situation, your home might be rough, and it might be that story you avoid or you don't talk about, but being able to, like, reinvent yourself.
Yeah. I think in the past too, there was so much safety and security found in identity. Mm-hmm. So there was what group you were born into, or
they hear the people listening to that was like their every day they woke up. That's what they were born, like that. Their day started with that. What are you? Yeah. What are you born into?
You're born into a family that makes whatever. That's what you did. If you were born on this side of the river, you were this side of the, like, there even in Jewish culture. Yeah. The tribe you were born into dictated a lot of what you were allowed to do, what your possibility as a person was. And so to say, hey, actually, what you're born into is this, you're actually a child of God. It's an invitation. I feel like it misses us a little bit, the weight of it.
Yeah, contemporary Western, whatever. American dream is in contrast to this.
Yeah, we're taught we can do whatever. So being like the idea of being born into something feels weird.
Yeah, the thing that resounded really heavily with me in this is that when I can formulate something about what does it mean to be a child of God, I think that the impact for me is not necessarily on what I get, but it's even going back to the patriarchs, or it's this handing on of responsibility. And so when God says, there's this declaration that you're my child, it's not to just sit in your basement and do nothing. It's to be commissioned to be a part of this family business. Because that was definitely like exactly what you said, is that you inherited a family business, and here to, I mean, I think the math goes both ways. If you say, all right, if you are a child of God, the thing that we as a family make is peace. Great. And I thought, I really wanted to be an astronaut, Daddy. Nope, we're makers of peace.
Don't even.
Wait. You got it. Come on, Rich.
All right, wrap us up, Rick.
Makers of peace. That's what we do.
You can be a peaceful astronaut.
I just think that it is an equation that goes both ways. If you are a peacemaker, and you say, somebody, when you think about it as being a bounded set, you'd say, sure, you're a peacemaker, but you don't know Jesus. And I think that God would say, wow, that person's family, they get it. They're making peace.
Yeah.
And the same way as you say, if you're part of the family, the thing that we make is peace. So if you're in this is what we do. And so to honor the person who is a peacemaker and say that who they are is godly, and to, if your desire is to be godly, realize that what you make is peace.
Yeah. That's good.
I think the Romans verse, as far as it is up to you, live at peace with everyone.
Terrible.
It's terrible. But if everybody did it, we'd have peace. Pretty interesting. Yeah. No, I think as we're looking at the thing that I had the page just sitting on the whole time is the idea of carrying the family resemblance. So the peacemakers, children of God, and being recognized as that, I think is important. And we just get to, I mean, you guys kind of said it all today. And then derailed me with that. I don't want to be an astronaut. But I think as far as it is up to us, take the step towards peace, and that's where we get to land.
It's good. See you guys next week.
Bye.